Hello everyone, I'm Thesleby, and today we're going to be diving into a random thought I had. I wanted to play through all of Yellow version, but only using starter Pokemon. The starter Pokemon in this game are of course the Pikachu you start out with, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, and Eevee. Now you might think this is a Nuzlocke, which is something I usually do, but to be completely honest with you, I had to cheese Brock a little bit, so I'm not going to call this one a Nuzlocke, I'm just going to call it a straight playthrough. Now of course I had to do some research into how to beat Brock with only using Pikachu, since I can't get Bulbasaur all the way until Cerulean City, and I can't get Squirtle until Vermilion. I leveled up Pikachu all the way up to level 18 and hit double team about 6 times. Unfortunately, this Geodude has to have the most accurate tackle in all of the Pokemon games. After using a quick potion to ensure Pikachu didn't faint and lose happiness, Brock's Geodude goes down and his Onix was pretty much the opposite, missing every move that it sent to me. In between the bye turns though, I was able to use Tail Whip and bring down the Rock Snake. Also, in case you didn't notice, in these early gens, crits do double the amount of your base damage you're doing to a Pokemon. So crits in this fight for me were terrible, only because if I was doing 2 damage each turn, the crit would only do 4 damage. But after a few minutes of quick attacks, I finally take down Brock. But just so you know, this is the only time I will use this type of cheese through this run. After making our way through Mount Moon, we defeat a super nerd and obtain a Helix fossil with the Lord Helix's blessing. Now in this game, they actually put in Team Rocket with Jesse and James, and they ambush you throughout the entire game. Fortunately for us, this was a piece of cake, and Pikachu was able to take down the duo's Pokemon without any problems. After arriving in Cerulean City, we finally get the second member of our party, Bulbasaur. I immediately evolve it into Ivysaur due to our level cap being 21, and I take on Misty with a grass type Pokemon and electric type Pokemon. Misty starts off with a Staryu and immediately misses her opening tackle. I strike back with a Vine Whip that does about 3/4 of its health, but Misty ends up using an X defend to take up her turn. Another Vine Whip takes out the single star, and now comes out the double star, Starmie. Misty opens up with another X defend as I go for a Leech Seed to do a little bit of dot damage. We exchange tackles and Vine Whips, but after Starmie is down to 1/4 of health, I switch out for Pikachu for a quick victory. Unfortunately, I have the laziest Pikachu and it gets hit with a water gun. Pikachu hits a Thunder Shock after Starmie hits him with a tackle, and we finally have the Cascade badge and the TM for Bubble Beam. We fight Blue's team up here on the beginning of Nugget Bridge. And now we have a new game actually, which we will be playing throughout this entire run. How do we take down Eevee in the worst way? We bring down Eevee this time with a combination of Poison Powder and Leech Seed. We stomp through Nugget Bridge and beat the rocket at the end of the bridge that gives us a nugget. But the prize we really get to obtain is a Charmander, who we immediately evolve in a Charmeleon, and that's our third team member. Pikachu has some cute interactions during these next 2 scenes, including being puzzled by the talking Nidoran Bill. Bill asked us to hit the subscribe button to this channel because 96% of you weren't subscribed after watching my last video. As we make our way to Vermilion City, we stop by the Pokemon fan club, and Pikachu likes this Clefairy, but unfortunately this Clefairy doesn't have a like button, but YouTube does, so if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to help the algorithm and hit like on the video. We arrive to the SS Anne and take down Blue's Eevee with the same tactic by absorbing its life force, and while it slowly goes down to poison and Pikachu's Thunder Shocks. The ship's captain had a little bit too much berry juice though, so we rub his back and make him feel better and obtain Cut. Now if you see a random Diglett in these next couple of scenes, it's because I taught Diglett Cut. So I didn't use him in any battles, but I did have him use Cut because I didn't want anyone else to use Cut. Lieutenant Surge's switch puzzle is a huge time sink here, and I can't recall the speedrunning strategy. So Here's a little montage break of me failing at this puzzle. Lieutenant Surge's Raichu is the only Pokemon he has, but it's also level 28. Raichu misses the opening Mega Kick, and we actually hit a Poison Powder and Leech Seed on the next turn. Raichu and Ivysaur exchange Thunderbolts and Vine Whips, leaving them both in the red after Vine Whip crits twice. I send out Pikachu after eating a Thunderbolt, but Leech Seed and Poison has brought Raichu down to a good range for a Quick Attack from Pikachu. Pikachu uses a Quick Attack and brings down Raichu without any other issues. Lieutenant Surge then hands us a Thunder Badge, and we're able to use Fly even though we don't have a Pokemon to use Fly as of yet. Now that we've defeated Lieutenant Surge, Officer Jenny gives us a Squirtle that is making mischief, and I again evolve it to its second stage, or a Turtle. Even though we won't be using it for a little bit, his high attack and brick house will inevitably help us for the end game when he evolves into Blastoids. When we arrive to Celadon City, I immediately go to the hotel and go to the first floor and pick up the Eevee and evolve it into a Vaporeon. And also, since our level cap is now level 32, I also evolve Ivysaur into the critical powerhouse of Venusaur. Oh, and we also pick up the HM for Fly. Erica's sleepy energy is no match for Charmeleon's fiery embers. Tangela gets burned up easily by Charmeleon's embers, but Weeping Bell doesn't go down so easily. Ember doesn't hit for that much damage, and we get hit with 2 defense drops from Acid. I send out Pikachu after she sends out Gloom, and I hit Slam for hopefully some decent damage. A crit luckily hits for about a third. Gloom misses with a Sleep Powder, and I'm hoping for a little bit of damage from a Stab Thunderbolt, but it doesn't do that much damage. Gloom then retaliates by locking itself into Petal Dance. Knowing that she can't switch out from this move, I switch out to Venusaur, and the Petal Dance barely does any damage to it. The critical hit machine Venusaur hits for 3 criticals, and Gloom takes herself out by hitting itself with Confusion. Erica then gives us a Rainbow Badge, and we are now up to a level cap of level 50 for Koga and Sabrina. Now with level cap so high for both Koga and Sabrina, I finally take the opportunity to square out our team and fully evolve Wartortle into Blastoids and Charmeleon into Charizard. We also go to the top of the Celadon department store and grab a fresh water and give it to this little girl who gives us Ice Beam. We're going to need Ice Beam a little bit later for a certain person in the Elite Four. We head back to Lavender Town as our rival challenges us to another fight in a cemetery. And this round of how does Eevee get taken down? Well, Eevee gets taken down with a deluge of bubbles from a level 40 Blastoids. Now I bet you're thinking to yourself, hey Thesselby, why didn't you just go over the Team Rocket hideout and sell it on Game Corner? Well, that's because I have found a way of skipping that entire section. I've been watching way too many speedruns of these first couple of generations, and I found out if you use a Pokédoll during the fight against a ghost, it flags the fight as one so we can bypass getting the Silph Scope from Giovanni. Team Rocket again attempts to ambush us up here, but we're able to defeat them and obtain a Poké-Flute from Mr. Fuji. We teach Charizard Fly and fly back over to Celadon City, where we find a sleeping Snorlax. We're able to wake up the sleeping Glutton Pokemon with the Poké-Flute, but instead of battling it, we just run away from it and let it know that anytime it sleeps, we will be there to wake it up. Now here in the Safari Zone, you only have a certain amount of steps in order to get all the way to the end of the Safari Zone to get HM Surf. I almost didn't make it this first run, and I would have had to go through it again, but I barely just make it to get the gold teeth for HM Strength and get into the secret house just to get Surf. I level up Blastoids and Vaporeon to level cap of 50 for the Koga fight, as well as Pikachu for a little bit of support just in case. Though Koga in red, blue, and green uses Muck, Coughing, and Wheezing, in this game he just uses a couple Venonats and a Venomoth. Vaporeon and Blastoids tag team bringing down all the Venonats, and finally after defeating Venomoth we obtain the next move puzzle piece for our move sets, Toxic. Oh, and we also get the badge too. That's a plus. But we mainly want to get Toxic here. We actually have to go through Silphco in order to face Sabrina, and there's no skips around that one unless I want to use glitches, and we're not using glitches. Our rival Blue has actually evolved his Eevee into a, drumroll please, a Flareon. So I'm sad to say our new game show is being changed to how does Flareon get taken down, in which, in this battle, he gets drowned by Surf. By the way, this is an evil Flareon. It's not the same Flareon that I have on my mic stand. Oh, and Team Rocket's here. Well, no, they're not here anymore because I beat them, and yeah, that's it for them. Giovanni is also taken down due to Venusaur's critical hits from Razor Leaf. And another thing too, I actually did skip the Master Ball, only because I knew I wasn't going to need it because we already have our team and we're not going to be catching Mewtwo. Now that Team Rocket is taken care of, before we go on to the last few gym battles, there isn't much between here and the Elite Four. So here, watch me struggle with teleportation. After finally getting to Sabrina, she leads off with Abra, and I forget to switch out my Venusaur as the first party member. A Skull Bash brings down Abra into the red, but Blastoids is hit with a flash. Kadabra also doesn't go down with a one-shot to strength, and it uses Kinesis. I switch out to Vaporeon thanks to the accuracy drops from Kadabra and Abra, and it's no match for Surf. Toxic for some reason won't work on Alakazam, so I waste 2 turns attempting to poison it. 2 Psychics bring down Vaporeon into the red, but even after recovery from Alakazam, 3 Surfs are able to bring down the Mustache. Sabrina gives us the 6th badge and tries to give us Psychic, but we have no use for it. Now I bet you're all wondering about Blaine and the Giovanni fights. You'd be right in knowing exactly how I took down the Fire Gym Leader and the Ground Gym Leader. That's right. Surf tears through all of Blaine's Fire-type Pokemon, and Giovanni almost suffers the same fate, but Persian and Nidoking give me some pause. Get it? Persian, pause. Anyways, Persian goes down after giving Vaporeon some slashes, and Nidoking gives me a mini heart attack after Thunder outspeeds and hits Vaporeon right on the money. Surf then sweeps through Nidoking and Rhydon, and we're officially Rhydon with the Kanto badges. That's right, it's a 2-for-1 special today at the Pun Store. Now, I've completed these early gens multiple times over the past year with Nuzlocke and these types of fun adventures, and most people can make it through Victory Road without hitting any trainers since none of them are actually mandatory. I'm not like most of those people, because I constantly hit this damn ace trainer every single time. Charizard though takes out all of her Pokemon without any problem. Leave a comment below if you can guess which Elite Four member gives us the worst problems. Will it be Lorelei? Will it be Bruno? Agatha? Will it be Lance? Or perhaps the mystery champion at the end? Who could it be? Find out later. Lorelei opens up with her Dewgong, but Pikachu's super effective stab 11 levels over it doesn't hit it in one shot. She luckily uses a super potion which eats up her turn and Pikachu hits another Thunderbolt. She then sends out Cloyster and Pikachu's Thunderbolt finally gets its first OHKO. Slowbro then lumbers out of its Pokeball and gets absolutely decimated with a Thunder that crashes down right on top of it. Unfortunately, on Jinx though, Thunder misses and Pikachu gets double slapped by the creepy Pokemon. Thunder finally hits Jinx, but it only does about 2/3 damage. After it retaliates with another double slap, a Thunderbolt finally brings down Jinx. Lorelei then brings out her ace Lapras. Knowing that Pikachu won't be able to survive anything on this low of HP, I switch out to Blastoids. But when it lowers its head for a Skull Bash, Lapras uses a Confuse Ray and makes Blastoise hit itself with confusion. The next Body Slam paralyzes Blastoise, and now he's paralyzed and confused. Now, me not really understanding the AI in Generation 1, I swear it cheats because it knows I'm going out to Venusaur and uses Blizzard in that exact moment for some super effective damage. So now it's time for Plan S, and the S stands for Stall. Vaporeon comes out and takes a Body Slam but also gets paralyzed, and again I'm locked in a Para-Confused combo. After Toxic finally hits, I use Acid Armor to boost my defense even through the Paralysis and Confuse. After hitting itself with a few confusion hits, Vaporeon finally takes down Lapras with the Poison and Surf. Bruno's next, and let's talk a little bit about game knowledge. Game knowledge means that I should know that Bruno sends out an Onix first, and I should not be sending out a flying fire lizard against a rock type. I immediately switch out the Blastoids and it OHKOs the Onix with a Bubble Beam. Hitmonchan is out next, but Blastoids misses its opening salvo of Hydro Pumps. The Ice Punch doesn't freeze and the second Hydro Pump volley luckily hits Hitmonchan for the OHKO. I finally switch back out the Charizard and sweep up Hitmonlee with another Fly. But unfortunately, Onix gets sent out next. This means I switch back into Vaporeon and set up an Acid Armor since I know Onix isn't going to do any damage to Vaporeon. Surf then destroys a Rock Snake and Machamp, Bruno's ace, is out next. A Toxic for just in case Surf doesn't take it down in one shot actually does pay off because Surf doesn't take it out in one shot. After Surf leaves Machamp in the red, Poison brings it down and Bruno is absolutely flummoxed. Agatha is up next, and Gengar is her first Pokemon, but she ends up switcherooing us and throwing out Golbat, who actually doesn't take a hit from Surf very well. Her Golbat is taken out after 2 Surfs, and her Gengar is back out, but it uses Substitute. Ice Beam is able to break the Substitute, and after exchanging a few Mega Drain hits, Vaporeon is able to take down the Shadow with hitting some good Surfs. Haunter attempts to use a Dream Eater and eats an Ice Beam for its failure from Vaporeon. I then remember I need to save Ice Beams for the next challenger, so Vaporeon hits Haunter after a Hypnosis misses. Arbok is then sent out from Agatha, and I switch into Charizard. A Fly doesn't take out Arbok, but Arbok also luckily misses a Glare after Charizard lands Fly. Charizard then does his best snake impression from Metal Gear Solid 3 and cooks a snake with a flamethrower. Agatha's Ace Gengar is now out, and I do what any sane person does with dealing with a monster. I burn it with fire. 2 flamethrowers are able to take down Gengar, and now I'm on to Lance. Hey everybody, let's talk about game knowledge again as it kicks me over the head after Lance throws out his Gyarados, and I open up with Vaporeon. I have to switch in Pikachu, and Pikachu ends up eating a Hydro Pump for my failure and is left with 34 HP. I take a big risk in hoping that a quad effective Thunderbolt is able to bring down the Gyarados. Luckily, Thunderbolt does hit and it does OHKO the Gyarados, and I can now sweep Lance's entire team with Vaporeon and Ice Beam. Lance's Dragonairs, Lance's Aerodactyl, and Lance's Dragonite go down to a single Ice Beam each. Oh look, the mystery champion was our rival all along. Jinkies! Sand slashes out first, but immediately gets taken down from Vaporeon's Surf. Blue then sends out Alakazam, which spams Recover for some reason at full health. I send out Charizard, and Charizard's Fly is able to bring down Alakazam into the red after it uses Recover again. Charizard then eats a Psybeam like it's nothing, and after 2 flamethrowers, Alakazam is knocked out. Executor is up next and gets burned alive after a super effective flamethrower unfortunately doesn't bring it down in one hit. Charizard follows up with a second flamethrower and the Psychic Palm Tree is defeated. I switch out to Venusaur for maybe some good critical hits on Magneton since it doesn't have its steel typing yet in this generation, but the first Razor Leaf of course misses. The next 2 Razor Leafs critical hit and we're able to take down the Magneton. This leaves Blue with 2 Pokemon left against my 5 starters. Blue then sends out a Cloyster and it's now a vegetarian after eating 1 critical Razor Leaf. Finally, Blue sends out his starter in Flareon. And it's time for the final round of how does Flareon get taken down? Confidently, I send out Pikachu. And confidently, I switch out Pikachu after he takes a critical quick attack that leaves him with 16 HP. So if you had Pikachu on ending this fight on your bingo card, I'm gonna have to tell you sorry. I send out Vaporeon and I put down the evil Flareon with 1 shot of Surf. Blue finally admits defeat and I have beaten Pokemon Yellow with only starter Pokemon. And that's the end of the run. I'm not going to go defeat Mewtwo or anything like that. I just wanted to become a champion with all the starter Pokemon. I love the early generations of this game, even though there is no physical and special split yet, and you need to know what typings are in order to know which typings are good for which Pokemon. All in all, I really did like this run, even though I started sweeping the entire game after I got all the final evolutions for the starters. I'm hoping to get at least one of these videos out, or at least 2, possibly, for every single week. So if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to do what Bill did and subscribe to the channel. And also remember to leave a like and comment below and share. Feed that algorithm so in my videos keep on getting boosted to many other people. And who knows, maybe someday some big YouTuber will react to my content, or I'll one day be big enough to react to someone else's content. That's it for today, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye everybody.